The new CAT M-Series small wheelers are packed with features to make your work easy. Let's have a look at some of those new features together. Come on in. Now the DNA of the M-Series small wheel loaders with its intelligent high-stat powertrain and its electro-hydraulic controls is going to allow us to customize your experience to meet your individual preferences or your application requirements. We can fine-tune the feel of the powertrain as well as the implements. Come on in, let's have a look at how to make those settings together. Now let's have a look at how to customize the feel of the hydraulics in the M-Series small wheeler utilizing its electro-hydraulic control system. Now into the secondary display, information, navigate down to machine, into settings, and then we can navigate down to bucket lift and tilt response. Now they can be customized independently, and what these features do is it changes the response of the implements relative to your joystick input. So as an example, in fast mode, you get an instant response. When you ask for motion through the joystick, the implements will respond very quickly. So if you're doing applications such as fine grading, you'll appreciate that quick response. Now, on the other extreme, in standard mode, you get a very smooth, a cushioned response. So when you give an abrupt joystick motion, you still get a very smooth response out of the implements, which is ideal for material handling type applications. And this works the same way, both in tilt and in lift. Now let's put hydraulic response settings to work for us here in a sand and gravel plant where we can fine-tune the control of the hydraulics both in lift and tilt. Let's start with lift and make that setting together. Navigate to machine, into settings, and down to lift response. Now as standard out of factory, you're going to get our standard mode, which smooths the input joystick to implement response. So here's an example. As I pull the joystick, we get a very smooth, controlled response out of the implements. Now here at max RPM, again, very smooth, very controlled response out of the implements. Now this is going to meet the majority of application requirements. But if yours demands that you get that instant response, we can dial that up to medium or even into the fast mode, which now is going to give instant response out there at the implements. It will start and it will stop directly with your input. We've removed that filtering, that smoothing characteristic. So if you're doing fine grading as an example, and you want to make little micro adjustments with small bumps to the joystick, up or down, you can get that micro control, that real precision that you're looking for. Now let's have a look at the tilt response, which is going to react very similarly. Into tilt response, again, out of factory, standard mode is going to be your choice. Now you can see you get very smooth control even at maximum RPM. So your joystick input relative to your response has been feathered to meet the majority of the application needs. But if your application demands that you've got that instant response, same as lift, you can go into medium, which will be a quicker response, or all the way into fast. And now we're going to get instant response relative to joystick input. And again, we can make those micro adjustments in fast mode with small bumps to the joystick. A welcome feature again for fine grading type work. As you can see, customizing your implements for lift and tilt is going to help you and the machine work truly as one. Now with our implement responses customized, let's have a deeper look at some of the further customization we can do in the hydraulics. We can also navigate down to float. Now float allows the machine when the linkage is in max lift condition to use gravity as an advantage and float back to the ground very quickly as you push the joystick into that forward float detent. Now, for most applications, that's a welcome feature, but if you're working with extremely heavy work tools or you're working with high lift style linkages, that may be a bit too quick. So you can come in and you can enable or you can disable that feature depending on your application requirements. You can also navigate to what we call bucket lower soft stop, also known as feather catch. Now, in this example, if you're doing, for example, log and lumber type work and you want precision control of lowering that load maybe onto a truck or onto a feeding chain, you're going to want that turned off so that you get that really crisp lower control. Now, for most applications, you're going to want that feather catch enabled where you get a cushion catch so that you enjoy a more comfortable ride. Again, allowing you to customize this machine and its hydraulic performance relative to your applications make the M-Series small wheel loader a good choice. Now let's customize that float on or off relative to my application. Now, as an example here, I'm going to raise my lift arm to maximum lift. Out of factory, on standard lift machines, float will be enabled. On high lifts, it will be disabled. Now, we're working here on a standard lift machine, and I'm going to go ahead and push it into float. It's going to come down just as quick as it can. Now I've got my lower kick out set, so it's going to catch itself. Now if we're working with very heavy work tools, or we do have that high lift machine, you might want to turn that float off so that you get a more smooth lower. It's going to power it down. So into our settings, navigate to machine, settings, float, and we can choose disable. And what that's going to do is it's going to reduce that lower speed because we're going to need to now power the lift cylinders down instead of letting gravity take effect and float down very quickly. Let's have a look at that. Float disabled. Fully customizable right here from the secondary display. The M-Series small wheel loaders feature as standard cylinder dampening, or what we call EH snubbing, which is a great feature for improving your ride quality, your comfort throughout the day. Now, when you're working in sticky material, you may consider turning the rack snubbing off, which allows you to get a bang as you rack the bucket back and may help flick some of that sticky material to the back of the bucket. Let's have a look at how to turn that feature on and off. As we navigate down to our rack snubbing, we can enable or we can disable that feature. Now let's have a look at how to turn the ride control feature of the M-Series small wheel loader on and make an adjustment to the activation speed at which the feature goes into automatic mode. Now, ride control is a great feature for smoothing out your ride as the lift cylinders basically become shock absorbers to take the bumps out of the road. Now, to turn the feature on, a simple push on the soft touch button panel will engage ride control in automatic. Now in automatic, it's going to engage at a specific ground speed trigger. To adjust that ground speed trigger, we can go into the display, down to the machine, into settings, navigate to ride control speed, and quickly, at the touch of a button, adjust the ground speed control trigger at which the automatic mode comes on to match your application requirements. Now let's put ride control to work for us here in a long load and carry environment. Now we can easily turn the ride control feature on with a quick push of the soft touch button and we'll get notification. We can also adjust the automatic speed at which the ride control comes on. Let's have a look together. Into the display, down to machine, into settings, ride control speed. Now I'm working in a long load and carry environment and I want to dial that speed down a bit because real quickly after I complete my dig cycle, I'm going to be up and running and I want that ride control to trigger in. Now the subtlety here is I'm going to set it at 5 kilometers per hour, 3 miles per hour. So below that speed, the lift cylinders are fixed, giving me really easy, nice and robust dig cycles. Now as I cross that threshold, I go above that ground speed. The lift cylinders work in concert with ride control accumulators to take the bumps out of the road and to make my ride more comfortable. Let's have a look together. Into my dig cycle. I'm going to back out of the pile. Now as I put it into reverse, and my ground speed exceeds that 5 km/h set point, that 3 mph set point, I get an indication on the primary display that the ride control is working for me. And I've got a nice, smooth, controlled descent down that hill. And ride control is helping to maintain that material in the bucket for me. Now let's have a look at how the directional shift response setting changes the characteristic or the aggressiveness of the shift of the M Series small wheel loader. So into our settings screen, navigate to Machine, Settings, and then on to Directional Shift Response. We hit OK on there, and medium is going to be the factory setting. Now in this example, let's toggle down to slow, which is going to give us the smoothest overall directional shift. So into forward, hard directional shift to reverse, hard directional shift to forward, hard directional shift to reverse, and back to neutral. So as you can see, we get a very smooth shift in that slow setting. Now let's toggle down to the fastest setting and do a few forward and reverse directionals. Here in fast, hard to reverse, hard to forward, hard to reverse, hard to forward, and back to neutral. So as you can see, you can customize that shift aggressiveness to your application or your individual requirements. Now let's have a look at the power modes available to us in the M Series small wheel loader. Now as standard, with no lights on, we are going to run at a 1600 revolutions per minute max speed with no compromise in total ground speed. We can still easily achieve 25 miles per hour or 40 kilometers per hour. Now, at max engine speed of 1600 revolutions per minute, we are going to meet the majority of all application needs. But if you've got a very aggressive application, or if you really got to get that job done quick, you can boost this machine by toggling to HP Plus, which does several things. It boosts the power in each range, and it bumps us to 1800 revolutions per minute to get a little bit quicker overall implement speed. With those power modes available to us, we can unleash the full potential of this CAT C7.1 and meet your individual application requirements. With customizable powertrain settings as well as implement controls, we can make this machine truly yours so you're working as one. The M Series small wheel loaders have been packed with features to help you and your business be successful. For more information, please contact your CAT dealer. Now let's go to work.